What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 114 of Value Town. But want to welcome our guest this week, which we've been trying to get on the last couple of weeks, but finally get a chance to schedule it with them. Cydonia. Well, I guess our guest is gone now. No, he'll be back in just a second.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We definitely don't want you going, like your power just cutting out midway through. So joining TSM, man. How do you feel like getting a chance to join a big organization like that?
Yeah, it feels great. Absolutely. Yeah, I just joined them like a few weeks ago and already had the chance to play like in 2 events representing them, and I should play more in the future. So that's really fun for me. And also I'm going to be like setting up my stream with them. So getting more support to stream more.
So clearly you're going full time now, right?
I've been almost full time for a while. Getting hard to find time to do anything else than Hearthstone, basically.
I think this pickup by TSM was definitely a well-deserved one.
Is it very viable to be a pro right now in terms of, making a living and doing that tour without streaming, just being a competitive player?
Well, I'm sure everyone has seen like the prize pools from HCT. Let's say someone who gets like 1 top 8 in HCT and 1 top 8 in DreamHack and wants to go to events. You're going to make maybe like $10,000 to $20,000 tops, and you're going to spend way more than that going to events. So it's probably not viable if you're not streaming. If you're a decent player, you should definitely start streaming, and also try to go to events like HCT that won't cost you much. There was a Trinity series, like you were saying, so a lot of teams wanted to pick up players to play specifically in that one event.
They just like get you for the one event and then they just dump everything. They're like picking up players for an event and then like dropping them afterwards.
I feel the metagame was not so bad for these events because like there's only one deck that is super overpowered right now, which is Pirate Warrior, and when you remove it, the rest of the decks are pretty balanced with each other, which is pretty good. It's way better than it was like with the Aggro Shaman meta that had Aggro Shaman and Pirate Warrior that were overpowered. I feel like the metagame has been known for so long now that we don't need to practice for hours. Like you just want to get an idea like what other people think about like specific deck lists, deck choices, stuff like that, like which decks are better, but you don't need to practice Jade Druid for hours. I mean, the deck's been known for like 4 months now.
Okay, well, why don't we move on? Talk about some cards. I know a lot of people are waiting for that part of the show, and it's the part I'm most excited about too. Like, there's another card that's elemental, and another one we referred to. 9 mana Ozruk. It's a legend card, not a class card. 5/5 elemental taunt. Battlecry gain +5 health for each elemental played last turn. I mean, we could see a 5/20 guy. I mean, that'd be kind of interesting to see, but in the end, he's not very threatening. He's just there to be a giant Sogoth or something like that.
I'll put it this way. If a 5/9 that can't be removed with spells didn't see play, I don't think a 5/30 that can is going to see play.
Yeah, true.
Right? Like that's my issue with it's like we had this discussion a lot of the times with Raynat on the show, and he always says the same thing, which is 100% true. There's no difference between a 10 mana like 20/20 and a 10 mana 500/500. It's just like at some point it's do they have the removal or do they not?
It's a 7 mana legendary Swamp King Dread 9/9 beast. After your opponent plays a minion, attack it.
It seems bad to me. Like it's Hunter legendary and they've all been bad so far.
Wait, what? So just because it's a Hunter legendary, it's like by default bad.
I'm kidding, but
if the class is not played.
Oh damn!
I think like the ability it kind of gives your opponent minion charge, which you don't really want to do. Of course, they have to attack it, but I don't know. I don't see that being too great. I could be proven wrong, but I don't see it being great.
I love this card on paper because it is an instant spell. The way I look at this is just a big snipe. Like that's just the way you should look at this card. It's a 7 mana snipe that kills maybe 2 minions, but they know it's snipe, so they can afford to not play into it. And one of the things you have to understand is I think this card becomes really good if Hunter is already good.
The Rogue Legendary. 4 mana. This is the replacement for Pillager, right, guys? This is the 4 mana, 5/3.
Clearly.
Corpse Flower. Death Rattle. Go dormant. Play 4 cards in a turn to revive this minion. And when it's dormant, it turns into this thing called the Sherazin Seed. The text for that is when you play 4 cards in a turn, revive this minion.
And I think with Rogue, they're being really careful not to make cards too good because the class already has a lot of tools in Classic, and it's been like generally good with like the Miracle Rogue and stuff. I don't think this card is very good. Like it's a Miracle Rogue type card, but if you're in a position to play 4 cards in a turn, do you need an additional 5/3 that you've played 4 mana for earlier? Probably not. 3 toughness, it dies to any 2-drop, any removal. It's just gonna die easy and come back if the rogue is already winning.
The concept is so amazing. I love it. I absolutely love the design. Like the dormant, the idea that it goes dormant and you have to do something to bring it back. The issue is like 4 cards in 1 turn is a lot. Now, one of the ways that I thought about, maybe making this, not rely on you cycling through, because the most obvious thing, hey, let's cycle our deck. Let's go crazy, play 0-cost spells, cycle with Gettysburg. The alternative is bounce stuff back with Brewmasters. Now, that example is horrible because you would never do that, because you would pay 8 mana to bring back a 5/4 and you've done nothing that turn. But the general concept is if you mix in bounces with cheap spells, stuff like Shadow Step and whatnot, then suddenly the 4 cards doesn't seem as daunting. And now I have to wonder, and that is a big question mark for me, have they added cards that make this better? We don't know a thing about whether or not this is a more widespread mechanic. And if it is, then suddenly reviving your board repeatedly is very much in line with the Death Rattle theme they tried to push when Unearthed Raptor in the past, and I think that could fit the rogue class.
The Warlock got 4 cards announced so far. Started off with their quest, which is a 1-mana Lakari sacrifice legendary quest. Discard 6 cards. Reward Nether Portal. And the Nether Portal is a 5-mana legendary. It's a spell. Open a permanent portal that summons 3/2 imps. And when it says summons 3/2 imps, guys, it means it summons 2 3/2 imps, 1 on each side of the portal. So anyways, the point of the portal is for it to be permanent and have it continually summon 3/2 imps at the end of your turn.
I really dislike the discard mechanic in Zoo because so many games were decided when that deck was good on whether or not the Soulfire discarded the Silverware Golem or not. And if they do, they win. If they don't, so it's really frustrating on both sides to play a 50-50 on turn 4 that decides the game.
So if you on curve keep discarding technically, and you just keep discarding the right target, i.e. The new legendary, Clutch Mother Shenanigan. If you keep discarding the right targets, you'll be not only ahead on board, but also fine on card draw. Like, that's the most important thing. The issue is, like, how likely are you to discard the perfect target every time? And that's one of the things that I hate about Discard Zoo, is the randomness of it, as Cydonia was saying.
Cydonia, we actually have this section of the show where we, what we call Smilestone, and we have to smile for 20 seconds. And that's it. You can talk or whatever, but just you have to smile.
He's going to count down from 3, and then you just stare at the camera as cringily as you can, and you just give your best smile for 20 seconds.
3, 2, 1, go.
That's a new feature, right?
Okay, that's 20 seconds. Okay, well, let's move on. We got Mekkatorque's Workshop. We got a few cards to talk about here. First one is a quest. Take 1 fatigue damage. Reward. Magni Bronzebeard is a 5-mana 4/10 body, also a legendary. At the end of your turn, gain 12 armor and add a random legendary minion to your deck. Yeah, so, man.
Oh, this is so beautiful.
Crazy. It's pretty crazy, but I thought it was like super interesting though, right?
You play this in a deck where you cycle only yourself, you're the only guy who's in fatigue, then this card is pretty bad. But if you're able to play Control Warrior deck and you're both in fatigue at the same time, then this will completely Shrek them. Like, this is devastating.
Well, I think like the quest makes it that you have 1 less card, and given that, it could be way more powerful than it is. It's not because you're in fatigue that your opponent necessarily has no way to deal with it. So essentially, you get 12 armor, a minion, and 1 legendary that you're gonna draw. You're probably not gonna get any more than that. So I feel it could be even stronger, even off situational.
This is Sacrificial Toad. It's epic. It's a 2-mana 2/2 body beast. Inspire. Your life tap deals damage to this instead of your hero. Death Rattle. If killed by life tap, draw a card.
I'd like to see this be a card that instead of like if killed by life tap, just reads whenever you life tap, like you draw an extra card, so you could maybe buff it with Demon Fire, so you get like repeated double value.
It's a value card that can't really get much value because the 2/2 will kill itself, so you paid 2 mana to cycle a card, basically.
Next card is Elise. It's a new Elise, so a third Elise, which is a 5-mana 3/3 body. Elise the Survivor. Legendary Battlecry. Discover a card in the wild set. First thing I noticed about this card was that damn, she ugly, right? Like this is not
She's
like any
the
of
survivor.
The
Yeah.
She's like not like any of the other Elises.
Tomb Spider was not played. Pretty much nothing was ever played that discovered for that high a cost. It's just not really something you want to do for that price. Now, where I would get triggered is if this came out of another effect. Let's say Elise gives you a pack, the pack contains this one, and then you discover a wild card, you find Rag, you win. Like in a tournament setting, that would trigger me to no end.
You have a benchmark that you can make a 6-3 that discovered a card you actually want, which is a spell and mage, and it's not even going to be that good. It got niche play, so it would need to be like at least a 5/5 to be playable.
Yeah. Okay, last two here. These are both related to just the general concept of anti-Jade card. One of them is a priest card, one of them is a warrior card. The priest card is a 4-mana Jade Eater Dragon Epic 4/5 body, and it's a dragon. Battle cry: destroy all Jade Golems and add 4 health to your hero for each one that destroyed.
You don't even restore, you literally
that's
add.
right.
Okay.
And then the warrior one is 5 mana Jade Slayer, random 5/5 beast, battle cry. Enemy Jade counter is reduced by -5/-5. So I guess like set back by 5. So if it's at 6/6, it'd go back to a 1/1.
I think the idea of killing all the golems on the board and adding 4 health to your hero is good.
I don't think these would see play, honestly, because of being a priest card. Like, I don't think priest would play that because it would be bad in every other matchup. So
same goes for Jade Slayer then too, right? All right, well that wraps up Mekkatorque. Cydonia, it was amazing having you on and getting your opinions, getting a pro opinion on a lot of these new cards. That's gonna be it, guys. So for Cydonia, Noxious, and myself, ChanManV, we'll see you next time, guys.
Peace out.
Later.
bye-bye.